NATO has launched its Eastern Sentry mission with French aircraft arriving in Poland after Russian drones violated Polish airspace. France has sent 3 Rafale fighter jets to help protect the airspace of Poland and Eastern Europe as part of NATO's Eastern Sentry operation. The planes were sent east along with personnel, handling equipment and ammunition, and operational, according to the French Armed Forces on Friday, that is September 12th. As Russia-Ukraine war rages on, the flames of the fight are now reaching Kyiv's allies as well. Romania has strongly condemned the entry of a Russian drone into its airspace during an attack on neighboring Ukraine, saying Moscow's actions pose a new challenge to the Black Sea security. Romania's foreign minister said that the Russian ambassador to Bucharest has been summoned over the entry of the Russian drone. Meanwhile, Poland has already denounced the intrusion of Russian drones into its airspace. It has called on Moscow to avoid further provocations. Polish fighter jets scrambled Saturday in response to fresh Russian drone strikes just over the border in Ukraine. The air raid sirens also went off in Poland, where it deployed helicopters and aircraft as Russian drones struck Ukraine not far from its border. Although the alert was lifted later in the day, Polish Prime Minister said that the country remained vigilant. With the support of aircraft from its NATO allies, Poland shot down Russian drones that had violated its airspace on September 10th, a first for an alliance member country since the start of the war. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says that the incursion of Russian drones into Polish airspace this week was unacceptable.
We think it's unacceptable and unfortunate and dangerous development in this regard. I think it'll take a few more days for everybody to fully... the drones were intentionally launched. There's no doubt about the drones were intentionally launched. The question is whether the drones were targeted to go into Poland specifically. If that's the case, if the evidence leads us there, then obviously that'll be a highly escalatory move. There are a number of other possibilities as well, but I think we'd like to have all the facts and consult with our allies before we make, specific determinations.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has warned that Russia was deliberately expanding its drone operations and that the West needs to respond with tougher sanctions and closer defense cooperation. Zelensky highlighted the drone incursions in both Romania and Poland, accusing Russia of knowing where their drones were heading. Dr. Charles Kupchan is a senior fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations. He's now joining us live from Washington, D.C. Dr. Kupchan, thank you very much for making time for us and welcome to WION The World as one. This has become the new norm by Russia. We are having drones breaching airspaces in Romania and Poland. What do you think the message is here?
I think broadly speaking, the Russians are doing two things. One is they're sending a message to the West that they're not prepared to call it quits in Ukraine. They're going to keep prosecuting the war. They think that time is on their side, that the military balance is tilting in their direction, and they're going to keep coming. And they want to tell NATO members, the Poles, the Romanians, and others that they're not safe, that they could get swept up into this conflict. So don't even think about deploying forces in Ukraine as some kind of deterrent force or reassurance force. And so I think it's this dual message of we're going to keep coming in Ukraine and don't think that you are completely immune from Russian military power. And I think that's why we're seeing these drones stray into Polish and Romanian territory. It's part of a broader hybrid strategy of trying to unsettle countries by not attacking them directly, but by showing that these countries are vulnerable.
Dr. Kupchan, Kyiv and Moscow have remained silent on this issue because there's one question that is lingering in so many countries and in so many critics. Is it deliberate? Do you think it is deliberate by Russia?
You know, we don't have all the facts yet. I do think it would be quite unusual for almost 24 drones to end up in Polish airspace by accident. Could it have happened? Yes, there could have been some defect in the guidance system. We know that there are operations, various kinds of what's called the Zapad exercises taking place in Belarus. But, you know, in some ways, it doesn't matter that much, because if these were sent intentionally or if they accidentally strayed into Polish territory, it's clear that the Russians aren't being sufficiently careful, that they are testing NATO, right? We've already seen the Russians cut cables in undersea cables that run to Europe. We've seen them carry out sabotage attacks in the infrastructure of Europe. So we know that they're probing. This drone incident simply reinforces that, and it does, I think, necessitate that NATO do exactly what it's done, which is bulk up its ability to defend the eastern flank.
Dr. Kupchan, finally and very quickly, there are some people who worry that NATO could be dragged into this war. Are these signs that that could happen?
Yes, I mean, it's not out of the question. There is a major war going on in Ukraine right on the border of NATO and the European Union. I don't think Russia wants to go to war with NATO. It's having a hard enough time fighting Ukraine alone. Does it really want to fight Ukraine plus 32 NATO nations? I doubt it. So I think this is muscle flexing. I think it's coercive diplomacy, but we cannot preclude the possibility that this war could widen.
All right. Dr. Kupchan, it's good to see you. Thank you very much for talking to us today.
Good to see you. Bye-bye.